Five, four, three, two, one.
Hello and welcome to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg and Todd Glick of Greenberg Financial Group. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. You both look so bright and shiny, ready for action.
Ready to talk finance.
Oh, yeah. So this is exciting. We don't have Dean here today. We're meeting with, really, you guys are, you're who people are going to meet with, right? They're going to come into your office.
Duo, for sure.
Yep.
This is next gen, right?
Pretty much in the sense, like, yeah, so my dad is the one, you say hi to him, you meet with him, you do meet with him if you want to. But if we're doing the whole process, it's going to be Todd and myself or Sebastian and Todd. We'll be going through the whole process of what the financial plan is, what our suggestions will be. And that's so we'll be the front men pretty much.
Yeah, and so, we've heard a lot about on this show, how does the whole process work, right? Like, what happens? If you call in and you want to set up, again, it's a completely free financial plan. There's no obligations to do anything. What happens is you call in, set up a time. We'll send you an email with things that you need to gather for the first initial meeting. You bring those documents in, all the figures in. And the first meeting is literally just a financial gathering meeting. Me and Dylan, we work with the financial plan software, and we put in all the numbers, and we really just look at what's currently going on. It's like a snapshot of your current plan. And then after that, we'll send you a report, and we also send you a risk tolerance questionnaire so we can understand how risky you are as an investor. Because everything we do in the next meeting is a proposal, and our suggestions are based on not only your risk as an investor, but also your goals and values and visions that we find out in the first initial meeting. And then after we get that risk tolerance number back, we can actually create the proposal.
Exactly, and that's how we build the whole proposal. It could be, most people when they get to retirement age are going to be more balanced and everything like that. And it's on a risk score from 1 to 99, 99 being the most aggressive, 1 being the least aggressive. You'll fall somewhere along that, and that's how we build it. So every portfolio that we build and we propose is customized to the clients meet the needs and their goals and their objectives and everything like that. And that's really what the best part of that financial plan is that we do, is that during that first meeting, it could be anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, depending on how much we like to talk. But it's going into everything about what their goals are through retirement. How long do they plan to live? Which is funny enough, we use like in their 90s is the base that we use. And the majority of people say they don't want to live that long, which is interesting to us. But
how long do you plan to live as an actual question?
Well, we have to, because we don't want to plan shorter. So say somebody's like, I'm going to pass away when I'm 75.
Do people usually base that on like, well, my parents, live this long?
We ask, it's more like, do you have longevity in your family? That's how we only ask it, but it's on a
There's a fear of that now, right? There's a fear of longevity.
About outliving your money. Yeah, and that's why we use, in the 90s, is more on the longer side. So we do use it like that, but then it's a funny conversation that you have with the people.
Yeah, the default life expectancy for men is 94, and they have for women 92. And every time we tell them, we know you probably want us to plan for younger, your date of death, but we're not going to do it because we have to be conservative. With medical advancements, it is increasingly likely every single day that you are going to live to that age. And the minute you reach 80, it's even more statistically increased, right? So you have to look at it for the point that I could be living to 95, 100 years old. And will my money outlive me? And that's the only way you can really tell that is in the financial plan.
When people come to you, how often do they think that they have a plan and they in fact do not?
More often than not, they don't have any plan. And they're nervous to come to us because it's the reality that they're trying not to face right away. But then more often than not, after the meeting, they're a lot happier when they leave because they have done well throughout their life. They've built the nest egg that'll help them not outlive their money. But it's until you do the financial plan, until you build it all and have the conversation, they don't know that. They're kind of just living on a whim, and it scares them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the first two questions we ask are probably the most difficult one, right? When do you want to retire? How long are you going to live? Right? That's a hard one to know. And then also the second most difficult one is how much are you spending each year? How much are you spending each month? What's your annual expenses going to be in retirement, right? And that one's hard for a lot of ones to answer. Budgeting is very important to at least have an idea of what you're spending, or
I call it the B word. I do not like that one.
Yeah, but it really is important from a planning perspective, right? But that gets into more of the weeds of saying, we've had a client come in the door saying, hey, I want to spend $140,000 a year in retirement. And then at the end of the plan, after we put in all the figures, what we can do is if their plan comes out as a 99% success rate, what we try to do is break the plan. Meaning, let's see how much spending is too much and that makes the plan go down to like a 70% success rate. This plan was able to get up 2 times the amount of spending they thought they wanted to do. Now, they might not spend $240,000 in retirement, but it's showing them a range of what they can get away with and allows them to not maybe be handicapped by that 120 figure. A lot of people, when they enter retirement, they're like, I want to bounce my last check. I want to spend. I want to use everything that I've worked for. But then they don't because they're so timid. They've developed all these habits of being not frugal in a way, but really just cost conscious, right? And then once you develop that habit, how do you break it? That's a hard thing to do. It's us telling you that you can break it and showing you in a very detailed mathematical way to have you have that belief in yourself, to be able to spend a little more.
Yeah, with that example, they were nervous that they were spending too much money already at the $140,000 mark. So when we showed them that you could double it, it just fresh breath there, fresh breath. And they were like, oh, okay, awesome, we're gonna take more trips. We're gonna have a lot more fun in retirement. We're not so nervous anymore, and that's the main idea. That's
sometimes with like a money manager, they think that we want to keep the money. Like, no, we want you to enjoy it. You worked your butt off for this, 40 plus years. We want to make sure that you enjoy your retirement at the maximum potential.
I don't even understand why somebody wouldn't want to at least have that peace of mind, whether or not you're on the right track. Wouldn't you want to know now so that if you're not, you've got time to move over, I wouldn't want to get to this point when it's kind of too late, which really, is what we're trying to avoid. I love that you guys start planning so early. I think that all of us should take a page from this book. I want our kids to understand finances. I mean, I hope they're bringing their grandkids in. I hope that they're bringing entire families. We all need to be on board. It's an education that we all need.
Yeah, totally agree.
And I love the team aspect of the way you guys approach things. To me, the partnership and teamwork is how families operate. So this phone number on the screen is 520-544-4909. You can call us, you can scan that QR code, it will take you to Greenberg Financial Group, and it will get you to a point where you can send us your information, you can get your financial plan complimentary. Other people charge thousands of dollars or more for this same product. This is something that they give you because you hang out with us, you listen to us, you get educated with us, and this is our thank you. So stay with us. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and get more in depth on how you can get on your road to retirement.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg and Todd Glick. And we're talking about how to take that nest egg that you've built your entire life and turn that into your monthly income. It's very terrifying for people who have gotten up every morning, gone to work, they understand, they know where the money's coming from, they know how to budget, and then to say, okay, I'm done with that. How do I live off of what I've saved and how do I turn that into income? That's terrifying for a lot of people.
Oh, that's definitely the biggest fear that we've come across, and it's the idea that are their nest egg going to cover their expenses, and if not, how do they bridge that gap? And that's where we come into play. We try and bridge that gap for them, whether it's through annuities, whether it's through what we call our strategic income model. It's a little different idea, but it's when Todd's going to go into it more. But the idea behind it is we're trying to get you a monthly check to bridge that gap so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, in our proposal meeting, we talked about in the first segment how we do the financial gathering meeting and gets us to understand who you are as individuals. But then in the proposal meetings where we're actually going to give you some recommendations. Again, no obligations to actually implement any of the recommendations, but they're free of charge. We want you to know that we're here for you no matter what. There's been times where we give recommendations and we never see them again, right? We're not here to call and really pester anyone. We just want to help. But in the second proposal meeting, what you're going to find is something where we lay out your income buckets in retirement. So if we have Social Security at $20,000 per year coming to us, say we have a small pension, most people don't have it, but let's just say we do for $1,000 a month. So you have $21,000 coming in, but your expenses are coming in at $60,000. Well, obviously we need to bridge $39,000 a year. Well, you've accumulated, say, $1 million into a 401k. And now that's all you have left in liquid assets to send back to you once you finally stop, right? So what we can do is create a strategic income model. And what we do is we put away 3, 4, 5 years of income that you'll need, say that $39,000, and we put it away into government treasuries, making sure it's always guaranteed to be there for you. Why is that? Because if the markets turn around and have a bad 2, 3 years, we have the time to not sell at bottoms and have them come back. Right? The biggest issue with retirement is the decumulation phase. You're selling every single month or every single year to fund your living. Well, if you're selling at inopportune times when the market's down, you're never going to come back when the markets do because you have less money participating. But if we don't have to sell the equity side of things because we already been responsible enough to put away the money we need for the next 3, 4 years, then we can still participate when the market comes back and we'll have a better, efficient return than we otherwise could.
You talk about buckets, and I always am amazed at it could be the same amount of money. You could have $20, and the way that you manipulate it, it's just a matter of where that money is and when you move it around.
It's all about percentages, and that's what we look at as the buckets. And with the strategic income model, it's more of a 50-50 bucket where 50% is going to be in fixed income because we need that safe side, and then 50% will be in value ETFs, growth stocks for a little bit. But we're not looking to kill the market. We're not going to try and just grow with the market that much. We're trying to preserve the income so you can figure out how to get your monthly check.
Another way to bridge the income gap is annuities, right? And I've always told people in my first meeting, how much are you willing to give up return for the word guarantee? Because that's what annuities are. They're guarantees. But with the word guarantee means you're going to earn less. It just, if you're not accepting the risk, you don't expect the return. And we know it's a risk-reward game. So again, if you're okay with giving up a little bit of return when the markets are going up 15% and you're only getting 4%, if you're okay with that because you value the word guarantee during when the markets are bad, then annuities are right for you. And we have no problem finding the perfect annuity for you. It's when you realize that, that 4% I don't like when the market's taking off, when the AI craze is happening and your money's locked up in an annuity because you can't take it out unless you want to experience a surrender charge, right? Putting money in annuity is very an illiquid option. So you only do it if you really need that word guarantee, if you need that safety at night when your head hits the pillow, because the markets are not risk-free. We know that. But at the end of the day, they can be managed, they can have mitigated risk with financial planners.
Yep. And with our strategic income model, it's a little more liquid on that side. Like you were mentioning, surrender charges, there's no surrender charge with the strategic income model. It's more liquid. It's just us providing the income to you. There's no lockup period or anything like that.
Yeah, once you turn on the income on an annuity, you can't increase it. Right? You can't ask for more. They'll penalize you for it. So again, if you need more than $39,000 one year, we can send it to you. If we had a good year in the markets and we say, hey, actually, we think you should take an extra $5,000, go on that trip because let's take some money off the tables. It's a good year. We can be more flexible than an annuity can be in that sense. So we don't like putting people in annuities because you lose flexibility, but we understand it if they need the word guarantee.
And even with that, with the annuity, we don't want to put the entire nest egg in there. So it would be a portion to try and mitigate that, but it's not going to be everything. We don't believe in that.
Yeah.
What portion of people that come to you really understand how much risk they're taking versus how much they're willing to take? I mean, do people really understand themselves well enough?
I would say about 25% really understand what their risk is. And those are the clients that they have a regular brokerage account that they've been trading for years, and they understand their risk, and then they come to us because they want to get a little more conservative with another account, but still do the fun stuff there. But those are the type of clients that understand the risk. Other clients have never done a risk tolerance questionnaire in their life. They've just put it into a mutual fund when they first started because they were just like, that's what they were told. Start saving, you're working until you retire. And then they're the ones that kind of don't understand what's going on with the risk tolerance questionnaire, and that's when we go through it all together.
And I always find it funny when people say stocks, yes, they're risky, but they're not scary. I mean, what stocks are at the end of the day is you're betting on humanity's growth. If humanity keeps progressing, stocks will keep, they're companies. They're not just, figments of our imagination. They're real things that are creating real value out there. So betting on the progression of humanity is probably better than not.
When I was a kid in our gifted program at school, they had a stock market program. And I remember just talking to my parents about why can't I just pick the stocks of things that I like, Hershey's chocolate. And at the time it was Pan Am because we were traveling a lot with Japan. But I laughed because I made a lot of money in that 2 weeks period, but just picking things that I felt strongly about, those companies I felt strongly about. And it's just so interesting how much more complicated the world has gotten now with all the choices we have. And it's so nice that you guys do all of this in-house for people.
That's still true today, though. Invest in companies you believe in.
Yep.
Like, you just don't invest in a company because it has this or that. If you believe in the company, then you're going to invest because you're going to be happier when it goes up. And if it goes down, you're okay with it, more so because you believe in the company.
Oh, yeah. Many a restaurant that I visited as a child, my mother still has investments in. I won't get into specifics. But honestly, there's so many parts to this puzzle, and what I love is all of these tools are tools that you have in your toolbox that we need to learn. When we offer this financial plan to people, this is not something that you take and it sits in a corner and that's it. This is flexible, right? So this is not set it and forget it. We create the financial plan, and then we have to revisit this with life changes, with new jobs, with deaths, with births, all those things, right?
With market changes. When the market gets high like this, people call in and says, hey, this is time to take money off the table, right? Or when the markets get low, hey, we need to start selling things, right? And when the market changes, that's when people's risk tolerance changes. That's what we've noticed more than anything. Life changes happen, of course, but for the most part, every 6 months, people's risk tolerance change because the market's telling them something different, which tells them something different about the future.
And that's why when we're talking risk tolerance, we're trying to have them look at a 5-10-year outlook because the market's going to go up and down. It's just a part of the game. But if you give a 5-10-year outlook, what are you thinking there?
So the process is when they call in, what happens? I call you. I have never had a meeting with a financial advisor before.
Like I said, you're going to have an email be sent to you with all the stuff that you need to gather for the first initial meeting. After that, you'll come in with that documentation. We'll put in those financial software. In the second meeting, after we get that risk tolerance back from you, we'll give you our proposals and suggestions. And then ultimately, it's up to you if you want to move forward and implement them. We're not going to force you to do so. We're not going to cold call you every single day to make sure you do it. We're here to help you. We're here to make sure that you find your most optimal path to your success on retirement.
So that phone number is 520-544-4909, or there's a QR at the bottom of the screen. You can scan that. It'll take you right to us. Honestly, there is no risk in this conversation, but this is a time where you can really take a look at your own personal finances and understand where you're at, whether or not you're on the road to the retirement of your dreams. And if it was me, I would be calling right now. If you'll stay with us, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and get to your amazing viewer questions. So stick with us.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there or be square. Happy birthday to you. As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dylan Greenberg and Todd Glick. And honestly, I do love the viewer questions because they ask things. We're constantly seeing some of the same topics over and over, and you really know that they're listening, and a lot of them have similar questions, similar problems, things that are on their mind. And it's so great to be able to share your knowledge with them. So I'll jump in.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. We have a question from Dan. I'm 67 and my wife is 65, and we both plan on retiring at the end of the year. How do we know that we're ready to retire? Ooh.
Well, I'd say first thing, you got to complete that financial plan. That'll help you answer probably 95% of your questions if you're ready to retire. Have you saved up? Do you have Social Security turned on already since you're 67? She's 65. You might already have that. Do you think you are going to run out of money early? That might be a question that's going to be answered. So I would say first things first, gather up all that financial information and bring it in, and we'll do the plan.
Yeah, we've had clients who have been with us for 10 plus years because we just got real big into financial planning 2 or 3 years ago. And we had this one client who just recently comes to mind last week, came into our office. Like I said, been a client for over 10 plus years, but the level of comfort that we gave him in this meeting was mind-boggling because he's saying, I've had these 2 questions on my mind for 10 years, haven't been able to answer them. And this is the first time where you're actually able to show me what I wanted to know. And the question was, I'm spending this figure right now. How much can I spend before my plan breaks? Because my wife keeps telling me that we're spending too much, and I know I'm not, but I can't show her otherwise. And I was actually able to show a plan showing double the spending and that the plan still didn't break. And that going back to his wife with that financial information.
I don't know if he wants to tell his wife that, by the way. I'm not sure.
Sometimes it's the other way around, right?
Okay, good.
Sometimes it's the other way around.
If my husband came home and said, we can spend twice as much, I'd be like, I'll be right back.
But that is the biggest fear of outliving your money in retirement. It's like, I don't want to do it, so I'm going to make sure I don't spend too much.
Let's talk about fear, though. I mean, we keep using that word, and I think we've talked about fear of longevity, fear of spending too much. Like, we shouldn't be driving our decisions based on fear when you're able to give us facts, right? So
exactly. We have a section in our financial planning software called What Are You Afraid Of? Okay. And we can play all the games. What happens if we have a recession drop of 25%? What happens if inflation runs at a 5% clip? What happens if Social Security gets cut by 50%? What happens if tax changes happen? We can play all the games. What happens if you die too early, or you have an long-term care expense for 5 years of $80,000? We can play all the games you want to play, and we can give that comfort to you in a way that you've never felt before. How are you going to simulate that on your own with an Excel doc or you can't. It has to be with the software that can run 1,000 different simulations and play all these variables into it.
Well, also that question that I just posed to you, I think is very interesting from the standpoint of there is an emotional component to retirement, right? So how do you know if you're ready to retire is not just here are the numbers. It's are you ready to retire? Are you ready? What are you going to do? What's the quality of your life going to be? This is a little deeper. You guys, it's like financial therapy.
In a sense, it is. I mean, we have that conversation with a lot of clients because especially if they're retiring in their early 60s, we're saying, okay, do you want to start taking Social Security at 62? Because what if you get bored in 2 years of retirement and then you want to go back to work? And they're like, well, I never really thought about it. I kind of thought I was done working, but I can only golf so much. Because we've had clients in their 70s say, I retired at 62. I got bored after 5 years because I was just golfing too much. I took all the vacations. I saw the world. So I just got a part-time job. I was just bored. So they do go back to work. But those are questions that if you're retiring early, you're just ready to be done working. And then that's really where the conversation transforms to.
Because what he's saying also is if you go retire at 62, you take Social Security at 62, you get bored after 3 years, start working again at 65, what happens? Social Security is going to tax you because you're not supposed to work. Now, if you take it at full retirement age at 67, and then you can work after that and you don't get double taxed. But people don't think about that. Like, you have to understand that if you're going to retire early, you have to be okay with being retired for at least 5 years.
Plan 67. Do not plan to get another job before 67 is the...
If you take Social Security before.
Okay.
If you've turned on Social Security before then, yes.
It is very interesting to me because I don't think a lot of people are prepared for the emotional component of it. And in this case, Dan, he's 67 and his wife is 65. They might also be in different places as far as like what they're ready for. So there is so many things at play.
There is, and that's why what we always talk about is the relationship business. And we're not going to just do this financial plan, meet with them twice, open their account, and then never talk to them again. That's an ongoing conversation. What if in 2 years they do get bored and they're like, what can I do? Well, update the plan. We'll talk more about it. We're like, where are your goals now for the next 5 years, now that 2 years of retirement have happened? And we just keep talking and talking as we go through the whole rest of their life.
Yeah, because when we go into a financial planning meeting, we ask, how much are you going to spend in retirement? They give us what they're currently spending, but they don't have built-in travel. I know you want a travel budget. Okay, well, let's put it over here. 5, 10, 15,000. How many years are we doing it? Oh, probably only 15
I've heard it called the slow go and the no go years. Like it's sort of you're going, you're slow going, and then you're not going anywhere. But I think everybody wants to, that's what you think of when you think of retirement is where do I want to go? What do I want to
But sometimes the man has said, I want to travel, or the woman says, I don't want to travel at all. And then you have this whole, financial therapy in front of you happening because they got to figure it out to tell us what we need to do. Right? It's their decision.
But what I love is that you're able to give us concrete answers so that we can lay out all scenarios and know that if we decide A or B or C, we'll still be okay.
Yep.
Exactly. You're not left in limbo with any direction that you end up wanting to take, and that's what we really want to help with.
Our job as financial advisors is to give you options and to tell you what we recommend we think is the best option, but ultimately what you decide to do, we'll work with. And we want the best for you no matter what.
Well, what I'm amazed by is I know other financial advisors charge thousands of dollars for this, and this can be a second opinion. So if somebody has a financial advisor, say you've been working with the same guy investing since you were in your 20s, 30s, 40s, I'm guessing that these are not the types of investments that you're doing, and this is not the types of conversations that you're having. So it's really nice to get a second look at your finances because we do, as we approach retirement, want to take risk off the table. We want to know that we have income after the salary is gone. And there's so many components to this, and it's a way different way to look at financial planning versus the, accumulation years.
Yeah, you can't know what you don't know.
And with it too is the idea of our whole team. You have Dean and Dave who have been in the business for 40 plus years, so they have the experience teaching us who are younger, but we're going to be around for another 40 years. So you come open an account today, you will have the same advisor for 40 years. It's not going to be switching every 10 years because they keep retiring.
What's your youngest client? Who's your youngest?
Oh, we have one that's 18. But those are grandkids because we like to build the whole relationship.
Yeah.
He's going to be set.
Yeah, we'll
That's
be
what I'm
with
talking
them.
about.
You'll be there longer than we are, for 50 years.
We don't have any account minimum, so we can help the smallest of the smallest people.
Yeah, and I think that that's a great thing to say and to know because I think a lot of people feel like they're not worthy. And I mean, you are worthy. You know,
That's why we
everyone
don't
deserves
charge.
to have this
We
piece
want
of
We have a way to
education.
help everybody, regardless. If you want to invest in the markets, we have a way to help you.
Yeah.
To me, it's peace of mind. And in this crazy, crazy world, who does not want that? So again, that phone number is 520-544-4909. Give us a call or scan that QR code. This is gonna give you that peace of mind to tell you whether or not you are in fact on the road to retirement, the right road, the road that you want to be on. Because if you're not, let's get you there.
Yep.
And to me, this is an education I wish we all had in school. And so thank you so much for giving this to us. Whether or not you're following us on the radio or television or both, thank you so much for being with us. And stay with us for the next show where we can tell you why your money matters. We'll see you soon.